Guys, I want us to look at question 4 of paper 2, November 2025. We're basically going to look at the possible answers which were expected from our candidate. So they said here, study the three organic reaction 1, 2, 3 below. So these were the three given organic reaction. And then compound T and W are organic compound. That's what they said to the learners. Compound T and W are organic compound. Full stop. R and S are inorganic substances. Full stop. Consider only the major product. So for reaction 1, or for the first reaction, learners were given hydrogen bromide reacting with compound T so that we can produce compound W. Remember they said both of these ones, they're organic compound. And then for reaction 2, W, which is produced in reaction 1, reacted with sodium hydroxide, so that at the end of the day we can produce what we call an alcohol plus compound R. Then for reaction 3, they take the alcohol produced in reaction 2 and then now it decomposes, or it produces compound T plus what? Plus H2O. And then 4.11, write down the IUPAC name of compound W. So the IUPAC name for compound W, it was supposed to be 2-bromobutane. That was the correct IUPAC name for compound W, because we all can see that this can only be addition reaction where we are adding this one. It means this one is unsaturated. So until we are destroying the multiple bonds, so that the hydrogen and the bromine, they will align themselves in compound T so that we can form a haloalkane. And then for 412, they said write down the name or formula of compound R. So what is it that has occurred here? We are taking the haloalkane, which is compound W, then now it is reacting with sodium what? Sodium hydroxide, so that we can form what? We can form an alcohol. So this type of a reaction is substitution reaction. So we can see that the hydroxide from the sodium hydroxide, it has aligned itself in compound W, and what has happened there? The bromine from compound W, it was eliminated so that it can form, it can bond with what? With sodium from the sodium hydroxide, so that at the end of the day we can produce the alcohol plus compound R, which is what? Sodium with sodium bromide. So the correct name for 412 is sodium bromide, or NaBr. And then 413, two names. They said write down two names for the type of reaction in reaction 1. So the first possible answer was supposed to be addition reaction. The second one, it was supposed to be what? Hydrohalogenation. So those were the two possible answers which were expected from our candidate. And then 414, write down the name or formula of Earth. So Earth, we can see that this one, it is what? It is a catalyst which was added so that we can speed up the rate of reaction. So the correct answer for 412 is H2SO4, or sulfuric acid. And then 415, write down the structural formula of compound T. So compound T, like I've said, compound T, it is an what? It is an unsaturated compound. So a compound C was supposed to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can introduce a double bond there, so that here we indicate the number of bonds that are missing. This is what was expected from our candidate. So this is the correct structural formula for compound T. That was 2 marks. And then they said compound W can be converted to compound T in one step. 416, state beside heat one other reaction condition for this convection. Remember, they are converting what? They are converting a haloalkane into what? Into an unsaturated compound. So that one can only be what? That one can only occur during elimination reaction. So they said beside heat. So the answer that was expected from our candidate, it's concentrated strong base such as sodium hydroxide or lithium hydroxide. That was 1 mark. And then 4.2, a compound with the formula. So they were given a formula here. They were given C10, C10H22. They said a compound with the formula C10H22 undergoes a cracking reaction according to the equation. So that's the equation is 2x plus 1 plus C4H1 H10. And then now they say the mixture of the two products is bubbled in bromine water, Br2, in a darkened room. 421, define the term cracking, a process whereby longer chain hydrocarbons are broken down into shorter, more useful molecules. That was 2 marks for a candidate. And then 422, state one change beside a change in temperature that will be observed when the mixture is bubbled in Br2. So once the mixture is bubbled there, we are expecting a what? We are expecting the bromine water to be what? To be decolorized. Or the change in what? The change in color. That was supposed to be the possible answer given by our candidate. And then 423, write down the structural formula of compound what? Of compound X. So here we're supposed to do our mathematics. So already this one is given. And then we are having 2 carbon. It means now, since we are having 4, we are having 10 carbons, and then already 4 is given. It means now this carbon on compound X, they must be what? They must be 6. So we are having a coefficient of 2. So now it means we must have 3 carbons, right? So that the 2 multiplied by 3, it will give us 6. And then with regards to our hydrogen, we need 22 hydrogen. Already we are catered with 10. 12 it's missing. So now it means we must have 6 here so that we can say 2 multiplied by 6 giving us what? 12. So they said they are looking for the structural formula. So the structural formula here, we are having 3 carbons, and then of course we need to have a what? We need to have a double bond. So we introduce a double bond there. At the end of the day, this is the correct structure for compound what? For compound X, which is what? Which is unsaturated. And then 425, which compound X or C4H10 react faster with Br2? Explain the answer. So the possible answer that it was supposed to be what? It was supposed to be compound X. Right. Then now we are explaining for 3 marks. We are saying the double bonds in compound X are more reactive than the single bond in what? In C4H10. Simple like that. The second explanation, the double bonds break up, right? So that the bromine will align, or so that it allow the bromine to do what? To align itself in the what? To align itself in the compound. So that at the end of the day, it can be what? Decolorized. So these were the possible answers which were expected from our candidate for question 4 for 17 marks. Thank you for watching. Please follow me as we continue to engage on question 5, 7, 8, 9.